Hey guys, Preacher 357 here, back out here on the range, and today I'm going to bring a gun to you that I've wanted to do for a long time, but especially since I picked up that Smith and Wesson Model 60 at the TFA auction at the annual show back in September. I said, you know, I really need to get this gun and do a comparison, and that is the Ruger SP101, which is in 357 Magnum, just like the Smith and Wesson Model 60s are now. And so I did find this one at a local shop here for a decent price, and I picked it up. Now this is the Wiley Clapp model, and I mean, there's a few differences from some of the standard models. A little bit different grip, I think, but still something of a boot grip for carry. This one has a brass bead front sight, which is nice. And it's dovetailed, and then it has like a Novak style rear sight, which is also dovetailed, and you can see it's dovetailed into the top strap there. And when I first saw that, I said, well, I don't know if I like that, because, you know, dovetailing into the top strap, you know, makes it a little thinner there, makes it you know, a little less strong, but it's at the rear, and the pressure, you know, on a revolver on the top strap is really in the front where the cylinder gap is there. So, you know, I don't think that really is a problem there, and it's not as though there's not still plenty of metal there anyway, and so I don't think that would ever be a problem, you know, after I thought about it for a second. But I do like that Novak style rear sight. I like that style of sight. It's more like a semi-auto sort of sight, which you know, I like those as well. So only bad part about it, you can't adjust for, you know, elevation, but you know, there's a lot of sights on handguns you can't adjust for elevation, so that's not a big deal. I mean, it's still a nice sight picture on it. This is also a 3-inch barrel, whereas the Model 60 that I have is the 2 1/4 inch barrel, I believe it is. But you know, this also comes, the SP101 also comes in the shorter barrel length, and the Model 60 comes in the longer barrel length, so you could get either one, so that's not really much of a difference there. But let's get the Model 60 here and just do a little bit of comparison. You can see here with the Model 60, of course, we know the barrel length is going to be different, but that's all right. Just ignore the barrel length. Otherwise, they are very similar in size. In fact, a lot of holsters for one will fit the other. So they're very similar, but there's no doubt that the Ruger is beefier. There's more metal. You can really see it if I compare the backs here. You can look at the back and you can see there's more metal on the SP101 than there is on the Model 60. And that's to be expected. That's common with all of the Ruger revolvers. If you compare a K-frame or an L-frame to the GP100, or an L-frame to, an N-frame to, you know, like a Red Hawk or something like that, you're going to see the same sort of thing. And they, you know, the saying's always been that Ruger was overbuilt. Maybe so, but we also have to remember Ruger is an investment cast steel, whereas the Smith and Wesson is a forged steel, and forged steel, all other things being equal, you know, heat treating and things of that sort, is going to be a little stronger than investment cast. So that might explain why the Ruger is a little bit larger. But both of them are still just 5-shot revolvers. They both just have 5-shot cylinders. You can see that there. But, you know, the cylinder on the Ruger looks like it might be just a tad bit larger. I'll have to look up the actual dimensions because I don't know them off the top of my head. But it still is just a 5-shot. So you're not getting 6 shots with it, as you would with like the Colt Cobra, King Cobra that is. But, you know, it's still a fairly small revolver. It's still not as big as a K-frame Smith and Wesson. And it's still going to be very good for concealed carry. And I really like the gun so far. I really, really do. Now, when I first shot it, you see at the beginning of the video, you'll see where I shot it on paper. Those were actually the first shots I ever took. It was hitting low and to the right. And what I found was the front sight was moved all the way over to the left, which is why it was hitting so far to the right. So I have hopefully corrected that now. And I can see where somebody, of course this was used, had tried to move it a little bit before and made a little bit of a mess down there. But I'll clean that up. That's no big deal. It's a good thing with stainless steel. You can always smooth that back out. So hopefully I've got it on target a little bit better. Now it's still going to be shooting a little low, so we'll have to hold a little bit high. But I really haven't shot anything other than just those test shots. So with a revolver, I'm not really concerned with the reliability or break-in period or anything like that. So there's no reason for me to do a lot of extensive testing ahead of time, so I can kind of just come out here and give my initial impressions without having to do a lot of shooting ahead of time and worrying about whether the gun's going to function or not. I'm pretty sure that this gun is going to cycle everything I put through it, because I feel like it's going to cycle every time I pull that trigger. Ruger revolvers are pretty reliable guns, so I don't think that's going to be an issue. And I'll be shooting my hand loads, but I don't think that's going to be a problem. So let's do a little bit of shooting here. We'll do a little bit of comparison with the Model 60 as well. One thing I will tell you, when I shot the 357 the first time, I pulled that rascal to the left. I mean, I flinched, I guess, because I was expecting a lot of recoil, because I was going from shooting the 38s, which I'd done in the first cylinder, and I anticipated that recoil and pulled it. I'll admit it, I did it. And surprisingly, the recoil was not very bad at all. I mean, I didn't really think the recoil was too bad on the Model 60, but I really didn't think it was bad on this at all. And I don't know if it's the longer barrel length or a little bit more weight. I'll have to check the weight differences between the Model 60 and the SP101, but it really handled that recoil of that 357 well. Really surprised at that. It was not much different than shooting a K-frame, and I don't think 357 out of K-frame is bad at all. So I've been yapping enough, been waxing eloquent, hopefully, enough here. So why don't we do a little bit of shooting? But before that, if you would, check out the description. There's a link there for the GOA, for a discounted membership, as well as a link for the TFA, the Tennessee Firearms Association. If you live in the great state of Tennessee like I do, get in the fight here. Join that group by clicking on that link, or just look it up yourself. I'm not getting any kickbacks from either group. I'm not getting any money from it. So wherever you go to get up to become a member, go. I don't care if you use my link or not. But you know, the fight for our gun rights is still ongoing. We've won a lot of battles, but there's still a lot more to be won, to restore our rights to the way they should be naturally, because the right to protect yourself, the right to keep and bear arms is a natural right. The Constitution says that right shall not be infringed. And by saying it shall not be infringed, that means that right is pre-existent to the Constitution. It's not granted by the Constitution. So anyway, join the GOA, join the TFA, or any of the gun groups that you're familiar with. Do your research first, make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. But however you need to get in the fight, join up, and invest your time as well. Get involved with your legislatures on the local and even the national level as well. They need to know what we want. Anyway, let's get over here and do a little bit of shooting. I'm going to start out here by shooting the SP101 with the 38 special in it. We'll just go on these red plates here and see if I can hit anything. I haven't tried these plates yet. All I've done is shot it on paper, and I'm hoping I kind of have it sighted in properly. I think it's still hitting low, so I'm going to have to hold high. So let's just see what happens here. I'm going to go double action. I hadn't actually shot this gun double action yet, so. All right, let's try this. There we go, bring it down just a little bit. All right, I was holding just a little too high, I guess, there. There we go. Yeah, she's hitting low. But I held a little higher than I should have at the first there. Just trying to get a little bit better feeling for it. So I'm gonna shoot another cylinder of this. And then we'll try some 357, and I'm gonna compare it with the Model 60. I'm gonna go single action now. And let's see here. Yeah, I had to hold a little bit higher. Woo! I saw it hit, but that didn't sound right, did it? That didn't have a lot of pop to it. Make sure it did get out of the barrel. I'm sure it did. It did. I'm pretty sure I saw it over there where it hit. But just the same, it's better to stop and check first. One more here. Well, having a little trouble here. I don't know why. Almost like that primer is proud, but it's not. Huh. I don't know. May have something to do with that. Well, it's that primer right there. It's the one we just struck. That it didn't have a lot of power to it. And the primer actually was a little bit proud as a result. Now then, try this one at it's 6-inch. Let's see how high I got to hold. I didn't see that one. That wasn't the revolver. That was that round. Apparently had a light load in it. All right, let's try this 357 Magnum. And I'll worry about those smaller plates. That's one thing I can say I do not like when a gun shoots low, because I have to hold high. I would rather hold low. When you hold high, to me it's harder to gauge where you need to hold. If you're holding low, it's easier to see exactly how low you're holding and kind of find the right spot. Holding high is very difficult for me. Let's see if we got a little bit better point of impact with the 357. I'm going to shoot a couple of rounds double action and then the rest single action. Yes, she's locked up. That was strange. What in the world? I'll take that one out and see if it does anything. I think that primer is just a tad proud, but it's never been an issue with most revolvers. This one, the tolerance from the back of the cylinder there to the frame is very small, apparently. So if anything's just a little bit off, it's not wanting to. There we go. Still hadn't figured out double action. Well, I'm not doing so hot, am I? Not doing so hot. I mean, the recoil is really not bad on that revolver. But, I'm even going to put this one that it wouldn't. I couldn't get the cylinder to turn with it in there and see if it does the same thing with the Model 60. Let's try this with the Model 60 now. I don't remember where to hold with it either, but definitely sharper recoil in the Model 60. Part of that might be that it's got a shorter barrel, but it does feel lighter in the hand as well. But I think you can see I can hit better with the Model 60 because it's not requiring me to take that high hold. And that's just a preference of mine. I'd have to change out one of the sights on this to change that point of elevation in order to get it where I wanted it. So, that's something I don't like, but everybody sees the sights differently. So, I'm not saying that's a problem with the Ruger. But one thing I do notice is there's very little space between the frame and the back of that cylinder. So any little differences in primer height or anything like that is causing it to lock up. Of course, then again, maybe my hand load should have been a little bit more consistent, but just the same, it's not causing me any trouble with the Smith and Wesson. So it is what it is, I guess. Anyway, let's do a little bit more shooting with the Ruger, because that's really what we're here to see. The Ruger, not the Smith and Wesson. But there is, without a doubt, less recoil on the SP101. Let's try the Cowboy here. See if I can get a better idea where to hold. Yep, still shooting low. I pulled that one a little bit, but not too bad. We'll shoot a few more of these 38 specials out there at 35 yards, and then we'll go out here and shoot at 80 and 100 yards as well. All right, let's see if I can hit this one out here at 35. There we go. Yeah, I'm holding up above the target to get it to hit toward the bottom of the target there. So at distance, there's a large jump in how high you're having to hold. So am I going to be able to hit anything out here at 100 yards? I don't know. But I think I might as well try with 357 because it's going to be less drop with it. Because I know with the 38 special, with it dropping on top of having to hold high, there's no telling how high I have to hold. But let's try it out here at 100 yards. Let's see if we can do anything with it. Didn't hear or see that one. No. I can't tell where they're going. I need to go higher. I heard that one. I had to hold pretty high. Pretty high. Let's try this one. I think hold on. Let's see what I got left in here. One round. Let's sling this one at the 80-yard target. How high to hold? Didn't see that one. Put 5 more in there. I just want to hit this 80-yard plate one time. Just once. It's always the one that's hardest out here. All right, let's try again. Hold a little higher this time. No. Well, I hit the chain, I believe, so that was about where I needed to be. Didn't see that one. No. Well, I have no idea where those are going. It's always interesting when I go back and I watch the video and I see the close-up camera where they're going, because I can't see it from here at all. It seems so obvious when you see it in the close-up view where they're going, but from here I can see nothing. Especially holding high, because I'm obscuring the target. So the gun is actually preventing me from even seeing where the rounds are going when I'm having to hold high like this, which is another reason I don't like it. Let's try with 38 special, just to see. Maybe that'll be going a little slower, and maybe I can catch sight of it. Yeah, I saw that one. Saw that one. What in the world? That's the second round that sounded like that. That primer is definitely proud now. Almost. Never could get the range. What did I load this one with? I think it was, I didn't write it on there. I want to say it's Bullseye is what I used. Guys, I just want to pause the video just for a second to talk about what happened. I loaded this these hand loads with actually HP 38. It was not Bullseye. And this was the first time I had ever loaded with HP 38, but I had not had any trouble with these rounds. I'd used them in several revolvers, and this is the same batch of ammo that I used for my video on the Model 60. So I'd not had any issues with it previously, but this is the first time I've actually used HP 38 for 38. I use it for 44 and for 45 Colt and 44 Special, some different things. But I'd never used it for 38 Special and thought I'd give it a try. So maybe my powder measure's a little inconsistent with HP 38 at that low charge level, because it's only about 3.3, 3.4 grains, I think, is what I loaded in there. So sometimes certain powder measures don't like certain powders, especially if it's a light charge. So that could be what it is. I don't really know, but just to be on the safe side and to make sure I'm being fair to the Ruger, I went and bought a box of Winchester 130 grain jacketed ammo, 38 Special, and I ran all 50 rounds through it in a test just to make sure that it would cycle everything properly if it was, a factory load, because most people I know are probably going to run factory through it. Now, I've never had problems with my hand loads not cycling, other than just rare occasions where I just didn't see the primer properly. But in these situations here, I mean, the primers felt like they were pretty well flush, but I guess they were just slightly proud. And the same with those light loads, those powder puff loads, they didn't push the cartridge back against the face. They didn't push them back against the frame, and which flattens those primers out, and as a result they ended up being a little proud after the fact, and the Ruger would not cycle them. It has to be absolutely flush or below flush for this Ruger to cycle them. I don't know if all of the SP101s are like that or not, but this one apparently is. So there's nothing wrong with this Ruger. It just did not like this batch of hand loads that I made, and I've never had problems with hand loads before, but I'm not perfect. I'm human. I try to be pretty meticulous, and I check my charges every so often, even after I get going with the progressive press. But apparently there were some light charges that got by me. But I mean, they're not dangerous as long as they're not squib loads, and these weren't. The bullet got out of the barrel, so but you can just tell by the power levels and the sound that it was an extremely light charge. But I just wanted to take time to say that, and to show that I did test this with factory ammo, and the Ruger did perfectly fine. So there's nothing wrong with this revolver. So let's pick the video back up. All right. I'm going to use 38 Special on the 100-yard plate, and then I'm going to call it done. Well, you know what? I hadn't hit those little plates yet, have I? Let's try those instead. There's no real reason to go back out at 100 yards when I haven't even hit these up here yet. All right. Hold up. Yep, having to hold up. Hard to hit. Yeah, I don't know if I'm ever going to hit that little one. Having to hold way above it. Like I said, that's not a knock on Ruger. It's just one of those things that happens with certain guns, and some people like it like that. Some people see it differently than I do, and it's right on for them. Everybody sees the sights differently. Of course, I'm also left eye dominant, so I'm having to use my left eye to shoot with, and I'm a right-handed shooter, so I see the sights differently than most people do. One more time on this little plate, and I'm just going to give up. I don't even see any sign of where I'm going. Bring it down a little bit, maybe. I never saw it. But I think that's good enough. The Ruger SP101. This is a nice gun. It's a nice looking gun. Feels good in the hand. Handles the recoil of the 357 Magnum. I just got to change the sights out on it. And that's a shame because I really like these sights. But the way they're set now, I just can't use them. I'm having to hold above the target. I can't even see the target. I don't know exactly how far I am above the target because I can't see the target. And that makes it very difficult. And, you know, but that's the way it goes. Sometimes you buy a gun and you've got to change the sights for that reason. I know that Taurus GX4 that I had, you know, it shot perfectly to point of impact, but then I put those Glock night sights on there, and I couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with it because they were so, the elevation was so off on it especially. And I know I have a lot of people that, you know, commented on that video about how bad my shooting was, but that was a 1,000 round test that I did, and I mean, it was just so hard to hit because the sights were so far off, and you know, I ended up changing those out, and then I eventually sold that gun anyway. But you know, that's the way it happens. You know, different sight systems just don't work the same way, and you know, if I got the regular SP101, it might have been absolutely perfect for me. But as it stands now, I would probably have to change out this this front sight. But just the way it goes. But anyway, guys, here it is. Nice little revolver, Ruger SP101. Appreciate you guys coming out. God bless you. Y'all take care of yourselves. We'll see you next time.